Hello everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Lori. I'm going to fix my cap and yes, I'll wash my hands. Otherwise known as the Frugal Mom. And if you like content that focuses on frugal living, which encompasses everything from lots of frugal cooking, food pantry blessings, frugal grocery shopping, thrifting, frugal homemaking, all things being a mom, all things midlife for us ladies, dealing with chronic illnesses with grace, then please feel free to hit that subscribe button and come and join us. So, my good friend Candy and I, Candance Brewer, you may know her as, we were talking a few weeks ago and we decided we wanted to do another collab together. So we're going to be doing a month's worth of bean recipes. And this is my first one. Now I'm doing this a little bit ahead of our schedule because I happen to have some escarole sitting in my refrigerator. So you may have guessed I am going to be making escarole and white bean soup, or as us Italians call it, beans and green soup rather, or minestra, which is another way to say soup in Italian. This is a very economical meal. It's delicious, it's full of good nutrition. I can't even begin to start to tell you how delicious this is if you've never had it. It's very simple, but it's hearty. So let's see. Our escarole is high in vitamins A, C, and K, and beans are a powerhouse. As you know, they're full of iron, fiber, zinc, phosphate, folate. I'm trying to think what else. There's so many things. My goodness. Let's see. Oh, all kinds of B vitamins. I had it written down, a little note there. So they are delicious in many, many different preparations, and especially in this one. I'm going to show you how to make this very economical soup. So we're going to start with 2 cans of cannellini beans, and these don't have to be organic. These just happen to be what I had in my pantry from the food pantry. God bless the food pantry. These are about, cannellini beans are a little bit over $1 now. I would believe that they're probably in the $1.30 range. And we are going to use a medium onion chopped. I don't have medium, I just have small. And onions are very affordable. We're going to use 4 cloves of garlic, and we're going to save our skin from the garlic in a bag and also our onions, because when we make broth, we want to put these skins into our broth as it cooks because they're very nutrient dense. And let's see what else. We're going to use kosher salt. We're going to make a paste with our garlic, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to use olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, don't sweat it. Just use what you have on hand. Especially in this Italian dish, I like the flavor that the olive oil imparts. But we do what we have to, right? And then we're going to use a quart or 4 cups of chicken broth or chicken bone broth. This is the good homemade stuff. And that's it. Doesn't get much easier than that. Oh, and of course we're going to use a big head of chopped escarole. You want to make sure that you clean that very well with cool water. I don't know if you can see it behind me in the sink. I have mine in a colander. It's been draining, and this recipe is going to take no time at all to put together. I am going to get started. The first thing we're going to do in our 6-quart Dutch oven, it doesn't have to be, this is enameled cast iron. It doesn't have to be this. It could just be any Dutch oven that you've got. You're going to put enough olive oil in the bottom just to coat it. You don't want to go crazy. And you're going to throw your chopped onion in there, and you're going to cook it for a few minutes until it gets soft. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Mine to the bottom of my enameled cast iron. So that is just from it being used and loved. It's just stain. It's been scoured to death, and that's just what happens with them. So this is about how much olive oil you want in here. I don't really measure, I just eyeball it. I would probably say it's about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of good quality olive oil. So here are our onions and olive oil, and I've just turned the heat on. I'm going to let them cook for about 5 minutes until they're nice and tender and soft. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to prep our garlic. Okay, so I am preparing our garlic for our mortar and pestle. So it's a little hard to do, but I'm going to show you how I did it. I already crushed this one, so you're going to want to put that on the side. This is an easy way so you don't have to try to peel the garlic. So you're basically going to put your knife, your chef's knife, on top of it, and you're just going to give it a good whack. If it doesn't split the first time like that, you're going to want to give it another whack. So let's see if I can do it. Okay, so like I said, I don't want to cut myself, so I'm not going to whack it while I'm recording it, but you guys get the idea. You want them to kind of look like that, all split, and that way we can go in with our salt and our pestle, and I can show you that, and we're going to make a paste out of them. And we've got 4 to 5 cloves depending on how big they are. Now I still have some garlic to do. I think I have one more left. I think you can kind of see me. Let me see if I can move this back, y'all. There you go. You can kind of see the technique. I promise, Candy, I will get the tripod out. I'm so bad, I know. I'm very threatened by technology. I don't know why. My generation was the first to be introduced to it, so you think that I would be okay with it. And for the most part I am, but the newer stuff kind of throws me. So you're going to put your chef's knife over your clove of garlic with the peel on. You're going to give it a good whack or a press. And you hear it kind of breaking underneath the weight of the knife. Yeah, that's what you want. So if you don't have a mortar and pestle, you could use a good sturdy bowl and the back of a rolling pin or the back of a really big wooden spoon. You could also slice your garlic very fine. I'm just going to give this another smash. And then you could, make your paste with the very fine garlic. I'm going to smash these a little bit more. Yeah, you're going to want to be aggressive with your mortar and pestle. I'll show you what mine looks like. Oh, I've got one more, guys. All right. Usually you can give it a good thwap, but I don't want to wake anybody up on the other side of my kitchen wall because these are apartments that we're in. And again, I'm saving all of my peels. And now I am going to add about a teaspoon of salt to the garlic. There it is. It's kosher salt that I'm going for. This is pretty much all the salt that you're going to need in the recipe, so keep that in mind. The coarseness of the kosher salt is going to help make that garlic into a paste. And we're just going to, this is the pestle, I believe. And you're just going to grind it up against the sides. And if you have like a little food processor, you could also do it that way. This is just as easy. I have a hard time with my right hand, so I'm going to switch to my left. And that's basically all we're doing. We're just going to make a paste with it, and I'm just going to continue to crush that around. You go all up against your sides. This is made out of marble. It's very strong. I got mine at TJ Maxx maybe about 4 years ago for about $7, and you can still find them in that price point. You can also find them used. Okay, let me move my spoon. So that mound of white that's right there, well, some of that's salt, but right here I'm talking about, that is our garlic paste. I should have showed it to you before I put it in. That's okay. So what I did here was I put another pinch of salt in there, just a little bit, because half of a teaspoon of salt isn't very much for this. And I put just a pinch of red pepper flake in there, just for a little bit of kick, and about 10 turns of fresh crushed pepper in there as well. So I'm stirring this all together. I'm just going to let it cook until it gets fragrant. And while that happens, it's on low heat, by the way, I'm going to show you the escarole. So here's our escarole. It is so nice and leafy green. It looks like it's a lot, much like spinach, but trust me, you guys, after you chop this up and it wilts, it's not going to be nearly as much. You know, those greens that we like to cook with, they're so healthy, but you really do need a lot, you know, to make a hearty soup. Okay, so now that our onions and our garlic paste is nice and fragrant, what we're going to do is take half of our beans, and these I have rinsed all of the gel off that they were in the can with. You're going to take about a half of these and you're going to put them into that mixture. And what we're going to do, I'm going to take some of these back, is we are going to actually mash them. We're going to let them get warm and then we'll mash them. And what that does is it makes your soup a little bit thicker and heartier without having to add anything else to it. I'm going to go over here and grab my masher. Now you want your beans to be a little softer so that they mash easier for you. And I have to do the math on this one, but this is about 6 1.5 cup servings after all is said and done. And I know that that seems strange because we only have 4 cups of liquid. At the end, I usually like to add about another cup of water to that. And because it's so thick and water comes from the escarole, it does end up making about that much. So, I mean, this has got to be probably about no more than I would imagine $6 or $7 to make that much. And I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, where else are you going to get a hearty, very nutritious, nutrient-dense meal for $6 or $7, right? So, there you go. All right, so I'm going to mash these. I'll be right back. I've turned the heat off. I've mashed my white beans. Sorry, guys, cannellini beans. And everything smells so good. I am going to go ahead and chop my escarole. Okay, so there's our escarole. It's all washed and chopped. Make sure that you rinse your escarole really well because down at the base of the head, there's going to be sand and dirt. There could be bugs hiding. So just make sure you get it really well. I found a bunch of sand in the bottom of mine. Sometimes you can even let it soak in a bowl of cold water, and that will help remove all that sandy stuff, any debris. But that's what I do, and I'll even take it apart and rinse it one more time. And I just did a rough chop, and now we're just gonna put our heat back on, like in medium low, and we're gonna keep it moving until it wilts. It's gonna be about half this size. Okay, so here's our escarole with our bean, onion, and garlic mixture, and it's been cooking for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna let it go a couple more, but you see, it's really reduced quite a bit. If you can see that line of demarcation there, right here, that's where it was. So it's reduced by about half. So I'm gonna let it go for a few more minutes, like I said, and then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so now we're gonna add the rest of our beans in there. Make sure they all came out. Stir that around a little bit. And we're gonna add our quart of homemade bone broth. Well, this isn't bone broth, but you could use bone broth. This is just chicken broth. All right. Now, I may need to add a little bit more or some water, but I think this is going to be just fine. I'm going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes, and then I'll taste it. A couple things to note. If you don't have chicken bone broth or chicken broth, you can use vegetable broth as well. You can use water with some chicken flavored bouillon. Whatever you've got, you know what I say, use it all up. Now, the escarole in here, it is going to wilt down even further, and it just has such a lovely taste. I like to serve it with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano on top. Also like to serve it with some rustic bread. I might make a nice loaf of some rustic bread tomorrow, and I'll be happy to share that with you as well. I don't know if I made a video for you guys of me making that. So at the end of 10 minutes, I'm going to check it for seasoning. It should be fine because we kind of salted it all the way through, and you don't want it to be too salty, right? And the cheese that you're going to top it with is going to have a little bit of salt in it. It's plenty hearty without needing anything other than, you know, a slice of bread and butter. Trying to think what else. If you had like a Parmesan rind, you could just throw it in there and let it simmer with the soup. You flavor it very nicely. So I'm gonna let it simmer, and while I do that, I'm gonna clean up. Look at that, guys. It is so yummy looking. Well, I know to some of you it may not look like much, but eating this for as many years as I have, I can tell you it really is delicious. It smells so garlicky and wonderful in here. It's really a very, very comforting soup. I am going to shut the heat off, and I am going to let this cool, and I'm gonna spoon out a little bit so I can try it. So I have to tell you guys, I did a very bad YouTuber thing. Bad, Frugal Mom. I accidentally deleted the last clip of this video. I realized that when I went into editing. So I can tell you that everyone in my family enjoys this soup. It is a 10 plus for my sister and I, and Matt thinks that it's an 8, and G thinks that it's a 7 or 8. She's a little fussier. So, with that being said, I hope that you will try this soup. We make it every winter, or I make it every winter, and we always enjoy it. Winter, late spring figures. Oh, I encourage you to try this recipe and let me know that, you know, that you've made it, and if this is on your regular soup recipe rotation every fall through early spring. So, sorry about the deleted clip, but here's the verdict anyway. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and as always, I am sending love from New Jersey. Please share, like, and subscribe. Bye for now.